Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Alicia Dreaming. I know I'm taking a break from my hiatus. I'm gonna be posting this video hopefully sometime in May, but I am gonna do um an April update as well today or tomorrow sometime, but that will be updated. That will be posted before this goes up. So I just wanted to reply to a comment that I got on one of my um Wednesday episode reviews, and it was, I'm not gonna show the username, but here's what the comment said. To be honest, thought about watching Wednesday, but then because I saw a lot of Wednesday Enid shippers being extremely biphobic, and I could just not do that again in another fandom. Didn't know about all the other issues. The racism details sound really bad. And like, that's fair. I wouldn't want anybody to get triggered by fandom drama, especially the biphobia. Um I am not in the Wednesday fandom because I I can't stand the show and I can't even finish it. And I was intentionally staying away from the fandom because yeah, like from what little I did drive, because like when I was doing a dive into the tags in the beginning when the show first came out, I saw a lot of the biphobia that this commenter is talking about, and so I didn't want to do it. And but what really so my response, let me try back up here. So my response to this commenter was like, so it really is bad with the Enid Wednesday shippers and not just the biphobia. I'm actually going to do a deep dive in the tags after I finish the show. It's just really frustrating because this is my most watched video, and like my second video in the review series got 200 views. I kind of feel like it's my responsibility to make content for this shitty show. And then I was going on to a tangent, and I was just like thinking, why am I going to write an essay in this YouTube comment that no one's going to read? I might as well just post this. So here goes my rambly, somewhat essay. So I actually had a friend of mine who is a lesbian. She was, um, she and I love to talk about the wilds and first kill. And right about the time that Wednesday came out, we were talking about how unfair it was because like Wednesday got renewed really quickly. And we're like talking about how unfair it was that First Kill, like if you haven't watched First Kill, it's a Romeo and Juliet story but with a vampire and a human slayer. And and so like we're talking about how unfair it was that there was all this pushback for First Kill, and a lot of people, like there's this particular think piece that I was very influential on my thoughts in this arena. Verily Bitchy is actually a YouTuber that I follow and I've been following for years, but I haven't watched all of their videos. I'm not sure what their pronouns are, so I'm just gonna call them they them. But so Verily Bitchy did this video called First Kill and the Lesbian Vampire, a review. And they have a lot of valid points. It's very good at taking apart the show and talking about how it doesn't fully commit to the homophobia or racism allegories. And I totally agree with that. I totally agree that it wasn't a well-made show. It was a campy show. It was very campy, and it was not well made, and they could have leaned into a lot of um I think the show was based in Atlanta and stuff. And part of my reaction to that show not getting renewed was and originally was that it was my initial thoughts after seeing that video, that review video, was like, oh yeah, well, it didn't get renewed because it was poorly made. But when you watch Wednesday, yeah, the production value is definitely higher than First Kill, which, okay, fine. They did give more money because Tim Burton is Tim Burton, and he's amassed this huge cult following. But it's not even cult following anymore. It's just like a mainstream following. And sorry. But like, it's just really frustrating to see that there wasn't the support. Like, the Wednesday Enid shippers, I'm not attacking them. This is by no means an attack on them. But there's this insistence by the Wednesday fandom that Enid is lesbian coded, and and Wednesday is also lesbian coded, and so that directly ties into the Wednesday Enid shippers being extremely biphobic. And it's like, yeah, it bothers me a lot that this sort of biphobia exists in fandom, but at the same time, it's like, where was this energy shipping the main characters? Where was this energy in a show like First Kill? And is it really, are we really not going to talk about the elephant in the room? The fact that the only reason First Kill didn't work out was because it was a biracial ship, biracial couple at the heart of the show, with half of the couple being black, and her half of her family, the human one, was black, and her whole family was black, and they were all slayers. And then, so like the vampire, her whole family was vampires, and she was, it was so frustrating because there was a lot more people of color in First Kill. And yeah, they didn't do the racism allegory correctly. They didn't do the whole show. Verily Bitchy had a point about that. They didn't do it wasn't as well thought out in that respect as some other shows have been. But there's this huge cultural phenomenon that Wednesday became, and like, there was memes and like viral dances on TikTok and all this push about Wednesday, and it was just so disheartening to watch, because there was also supposedly a lot of support for making Wednesday and Enid gay in the show. But I'm like, okay, you want them gay, but they clearly have interests in boys, so why can't we make them bisexual? And what is wrong with making them bisexual? But the other layer of course, is also the misogynoir. The misogynoir, because even though Jenna Ortega is Mexican American, or maybe she's not Mexican American, maybe she's just Latina, I can't remember. I need to look that up again. But the point of it is that she's Latina, and you can tell she does have some indigenous in her. She is a mestiza. But the point is that she's super deathly pale, and they have made her so much paler in this show and in recent years. Because like when she was on Jane the Virgin, she looked brown. She looked brown. Because like Gina Rodriguez is brown, and she was supposed to be young Jane the Virgin. And so, like, I do wonder if she lightened her skin, or if it was just makeup that was making her that dark in Jane the Virgin, which I'm not going to get into that right now. But it is, I do wonder if they whitewashed Jenna Ortega for Wednesday, the show, because they want to attract a certain, and whitewashing is not something that's new to this show, like whitewashing a Latino character to make them more palatable to white audiences. And it's like, it's very frustrating because I feel like this obligation to talk about the racial issues of the Wednesday show, the fact that they didn't do that, Tim Burton is obsessed with the persecution of outcasts and stuff, when he could have very well have just been like, the pilgrims were puritanical and they hung and burnt witches alive, and they were genocidal, and like they could have done a whole bunch of stuff, instead of like this. And like the whole part where the mayor of the town that's next to the school in Wednesday being have the mayor was black and his son was black, and his son was popular and like beating up on the outcasts as well, and who he was also black. And I was just like, there's just this colorblind racism going on where you had inclusion, right? You had inclusion, racial inclusion, but you're not paying attention to the actual social dynamics that would exist in uh in a real situation historically. Because like when that that town founder um burnt up the the whole, what was it, a barn or something, with a bunch of people, barn, or it was some sort of building, and Goody Adams was in there. And that really was whitewashing too, because Goody Adams was literally Jenna Ortega with a blonde wig, and it just made me so mad because like I had been hoping, because of who they cast as Jenna Ortega's dad, um, well, as Wednesday's dad in the show, that maybe we would get like some discussion of how her ancestors are literally indigenous and from this country. And she does this spiel, and I if you've been watching my review series, you'll see this, and I'll try to include it up here, the same place where I put the comments. And like that spiel is just, it's so frustrating because like because she is talking about the genocide, that chocolate came from the Americas, and the genocide of indigenous people, but she does it in German. So yeah, there was like this there's this disconnect where like Germans also settled the North American continent, and they perpetuated a genocide on Native Americans, and they were like, I was just like, it gives me such a headache. And I've been trying to get myself to finish the show, but part of me doesn't want anything to do with this show, but I guess it's like it falls to me to be the one person that points out people's hypocrisy about wanting Wednesday and Enid to be gay and together, and the biphobia with that, and then the whole racism on Tim Burton's side, where he made this show with some flavor, like, but he, like, okay, um the siren in the Wednesday show, she was supposedly she was supposedly like had made somebody go against their own will, because with their siren powers, and so she was like a bad guy too. And I was like, oh my god, I so Tim Burton, can use black people in his shows and stuff, but he's not doing it to with an eye for historical accuracy or like what was actually going on, but rather this amorphous enemy of the outcasts and like how outcasts were treated. And where, like, yeah, I get that the Salem witch burnings and witch trials and stuff were like a thing, but it wasn't nearly as widespread as the indigenous genocide that was perpetuated in the Americas. And so it's just, I wish, see, this is why I say that I wish when white allies would, I'm not, this isn't directed at Verily Bitchy or anything, but I wish there were more white allies that would take on the burden of calling this shit out, because there's so much approval for Tim Burton. There's so much support for Tim Burton, and a lot of, he gets the benefit of the doubt that he made Wednesday. And if, like, at this point, like, if he makes Enid and Wednesday a canon couple in the show, it's gonna be completely fan service. It wasn't intended. It was literally fans got what they wanted, and yet we don't get sapphic shows like First Kill renewed, or The Wilds didn't get a third season, or A League of Their Own didn't get a second season. They originally got renewed for a second season, and then that got canceled again. So, and it's like, there's so many, Batwoman didn't get a fourth season. There was a slew of sapphic shows that just didn't get renewed or didn't get another chance. Oh, Warrior Nun, another one and it's just like, it's so, the intersection, right, of being queer and being a woman of color and not getting the support in these shows where they actually do racism. Like, there's this podcast that I'm listening to, and I'll put the link in the doobly-doo, but yeah, like, it's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating. And it was the podcast that I was listening to was The Wilds, and they actually, it was the Wilds review, and they actually did a pretty long review of the first season, and it's so frustrating because like, A League of Their Own did racism even better than The Wilds, if that's possible, but like, it's just, why do we continue to celebrate white men when they clearly, and I'm pretty sure Tim Burton is not queer, but okay, a cis abled white man, straight man, and it's like, he keeps getting all of these accolades and all these chances, and his success is literally resting on the fact that his brand is like the gothic brand, you know? And yet it's just so frustrating that other shows, like the shows that I've mentioned, the sapphic shows that I've mentioned, are not getting the same attention, and then they're not, I just feel like it's my duty to push back against Wednesday, because I am a Latina, and because Jenna Ortega is a Latina, and because Tim Burton is using his Latin cast members on this show to be like, oh, I'm totally inclusive. Except he's not. He's actually being more racist than ever. He's being white supremacist. So this video is already 20 minutes long and I don't see an end in sight. And I'm so sorry. This is just a ramble, but I'm going to try to put it all, I'm going to try to edit it down or something sooner or later. But thank you for watching. And I've been Alicia Dreaming. Thanks, folks. Bye. So I just wanted to, this is a postscript to my video that you just watched. It's still involved in the reply of the Wednesday show review that I did. But I made a leap of logic that I want to clarify right now. And what that leap of logic is that yes, Jenna Ortega is a woman of color. However, she is being lightened cosmetically with makeup to be very pale, and with the lights that they're using, blue lights, I believe it's blue lights that they're using on her to make her even more deathly pale. And like when you compare that to First Kill or Batwoman, where the protagonist, where the sapphic protagonists were there was black female lesbians in both shows and they were canceled, and it's the issue of misogynoir, which is the intersection of racism, anti-black racism, and sexism. Like it really bothers me, on top of the biphobia that we see affecting the Enid, affecting the fandom, because it's like it's frustrating that even the Wilds and A League of Their Own had more like women of color than Wednesday. And like the siren in Wednesday is an antagonist so far from what I've seen. I haven't finished the show, mind you. I don't know if that changes, but one of the things that frustrates me about the fact that everybody is pushing for gay rep in Wednesday is that it's not actually giving us canon representation of lesbians or even bisexuals, whereas the other shows that I mentioned that were sapphic and were canceled were giving us canon representation. This is just a fanon wish that Wednesday Enid shippers want, and if we get it now, it's fan service, and it's totally, it's just frustrating. And I'm gonna let you go now, but let me know if I should continue with my Wednesday reviews. I am really so done with YouTube. I don't get nearly as much engagement from YouTube as I do from TikTok. So I don't even know if I want to continue with that. But thanks for watching. Bye.